Stéphane Dujarric is the spokesman for the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. We do show his news conferences quite a bit here on Live Now from Fox. Joining us, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us.
Josh, great to be here and great to be on Fox Live.
We appreciate it. And have Trump's claims about the escalator and the teleprompter there been investigated? Is it clear at this point what happened?
First of all, obviously, we want everyone's visit to go smoothly. We have more than 195 delegations come. Nobody wants to see these types of incidents. Our preliminary investigation into the issues on the escalator showed that it was someone from the White House communications team who was running up the escalator the wrong way, who triggered the safety mechanism. And the teleprompter, as we've said, was operated by the White House. That being said, Josh, we've been in touch with the U.S. mission to the UN. We're doing a deeper investigation. We've asked them to join us so everyone can get the same information.
One other thing that was interesting that was actually mentioned by the United Nations, the ambassador from the US, Mike Waltz, was about this Portuguese translation that started maybe about 30 minutes in. It was up for maybe about a minute. We were airing it live and we heard it and weren't sure what was happening. Has that been looked into as well?
Yes, it was in fact a human error. We had some external interpreters because Portuguese is not an official language of the UN. We had some external interpreters doing some other languages, and the interpreter in question pressed the wrong button, and that was corrected as soon as possible.
How has the United Nations, you touched on this here, but how has the United Nations responded to the White House, their calls for personnel changes here?
Well, whenever there's an incident, everybody needs to take a pause, give us and the U.S. time to actually look into everything. And as I've said, I've shared with you the results of our preliminary findings.
And you are, of course, the spokesperson for Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General there at the United Nations. How does he respond overall to Trump's speech in general, what he had to say about the United Nations and saying specifically that they didn't help with any of these wars?
Well, what was interesting is I think after the remarks, the Secretary General and the President had a bilateral meeting in front of the cameras. Before the meeting, the President was very clear, said he supported the United Nations 100%. He doesn't always agree with it. The two of them had a really constructive meeting, notably on issues of peace, of where the UN and the US could work together, because it's clear to the Secretary General that the goals of achieving peace are shared, and they had a good conversation, especially on issues related to Ukraine.
How does the United Nations work when you have a major member state who issues a complaint, so to speak, like what we're talking about with the escalator, the teleprompter, the Portuguese translation there? How does the United Nations go about dealing with that while also trying to remain neutral?
Well, it's not an issue of being neutral or impartial. It's an issue of something clearly went wrong. Things go wrong, whether it's in broadcasting or in hosting conferences, and you try to find out what happened, correct the problem, and ensure that it's never going to happen again.
All right. We appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. We know you got a lot going on with the General Assembly underway here. Is there anything else that you want to add about any of this before I let you go?
No, Josh, I would say that, we're having great cooperation between the United Nations and our host country, and especially the host city. Organizing the General Assembly every year is a tremendous amount of work, but we couldn't do it without the close cooperation with the U.S. Secret Service, with the State Department's security, and of course, the NYPD. And I can tell you that that relationship on the security front could not be any better.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. We definitely appreciate it.
Take care, Josh. Thank you.